We have had the coldest winter on record this January since 2014, so I am extremely ready for spring weather. And these projects give me just a little hint of that warm weather that is around the corner, hopefully. Thank you for stopping by Lavender and Lace. I'm Alicia, and welcome back to all of my viewers that come and see me each week. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And let's get started with these springtime projects. I picked up this sign at Hobby Lobby in the spring shop, and it was 40% off, and I was looking for a particular size for this project, and I started this one by just giving this 3 good coats of my Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster. It does take quite a bit of paint to cover up any of the font or design that they have on these signs. And I had found this rub-on transfer on Amazon, and I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. I love the design, the colors, the font, everything about this one. So I was looking for a sign that this one would fit on, and my sign was actually a little bit longer than this design. So what I did was just cut off the scrolls, the decorative scrolls on the ends of this sign, so I'll be able to place those where I want them. And I just took my little measuring tape and measured my sign so I could get my design centered on the top of this. And I started with the middle piece of that design, and this one did come in 3 different sections, so I had to piece all of those together. And my sign was almost a little bit too narrow for this design, and I knew that when I bought it. I was just really hoping that everything would fit, and it did. It worked out really good. And I just used my hand first to press down that rub-on transfer, and just went back in with my large Cricut squeegee to get that applied. And this one was a little bit different than rub-on transfers like I was thinking that it would be. It was more like a sticker, actually. It's not like the transfers that you get at the Dollar Tree that you can see that are rubbing off of that backing sheet. This one I just had to peel off that plastic top cover, and it was really more like a sticker, this design, and it does have a very glossy finish to this one. So I just carefully peeled back that top sheet, and I repeated all of those steps for all of the extra pieces. I did have to carefully line these up so you wouldn't be able to see any gaps or anything like that in the design. And I did just those same steps to get all of the decorative elements placed on each corner of my sign. And I tried so hard not to distress this, you guys. I really wanted to just leave it the way that it was. I thought it was pretty, but I just couldn't leave it alone. I grabbed some of my antique wax from Waverly and just a larger chip brush and did just a little bit of light distressing across the entire design and all of the areas of my sign. And I did just go back in with a baby wipe and kind of smooth those streaks out a little bit more, just to blend that in a little bit better with the background. And this one is finished. This one is so pretty. I think this one will look great on my mantle with all of my other spring decor. I wanted to take just some time and thank you all so very much for watching my videos and supporting my channel. That means so much to me and my family, and I look forward to continuing to grow this community in this new year. Now let's get back to the projects. For this project, you will need a couple of the smaller wooden pieces that you can get from the Dollar Tree. These are about 5.5 by 5.5 inches, and you will also need some wood beads. I decided to use square beads. You could, of course, use round ones if that's what you have in your stash. And these came from the Dollar Tree as well in their Crafters Square section. They had these just on some string. They had the square ones and the round ones as well. And I did a dry fit all the way around one of the pieces of my wood to make sure I had these spaced evenly and that everything would look right once I glued it down with some hot glue. And you will just continue that all the way around your piece of wood. And then you'll just want to add some extra hot glue to the top of all of your beads and put that second piece of wood on top of that. And this one was a little bit bowed. It wasn't completely flat. And if you guys have watched any of my videos, you know that I craft in my kitchen. So I had a cast iron skillet that was really close by on hand. So I just put that on top of this wood piece until that hot glue set and everything was attached. And I grabbed my Waverly chalk paint in the color sandstone, and I did a couple of coats of that all over my riser. I did the bottom as well, so that would be a complete finished look. And once my paint was dry, I just went in with a liberal amount of my antique wax. Actually, I wanted to get into all of those cracks and crevices between the beads and those wood boards. I wanted this to look very antique. So I just applied that and went back in with a baby wipe and removed a lot of that excess, but I made sure to leave that in all of those areas that I wanted that to stand out. And I did that on the top and the bottom as well. And I also found this pack of vintage floral designs on Amazon. So I just looked through all of those and tried to find ones that would fit on the top of this riser, and just picked out a design that I liked for my decor. And I just cut that down to size to fit on the top of my riser. And these are also kind of like stickers as well, kind of similar to that first one that we used in the first project. And I just made sure that that was going to fit on the top. I had cut out a couple of these that I liked, and I decided to go with the one that had the keys on it. I really like that design. And you just peel off that backing paper and apply it to whatever piece that you are working on. And these apply really well. I had worried about putting these on paint because sometimes that transfer paper or whatever they put these on will pull up that paint. So I did try to let my paint dry for quite some time before I applied that. And then you just remove that top sheet and your design is in place and where you want it to be. And this one was super sticky, so it did take a little bit of effort to get that one pulled off and not remove any of the transfer. And I thought that bottom corner just looked a little bare, so I looked through my stash and I found these stickers, and these came from the Dollar Tree. And I just put one of those decorative pieces in that bottom corner just to kind of finish this off. And I really like that extra detail and dimension that it gives this piece. And these transfers were super glossy as well. So for this one, I decided to use some of my Mod Podge to help seal that, as well as get that shine to be a little bit less. And I wanted to show you guys this. I love these squeeze bottles to keep my Mod Podge in, but it just completely dries up sometimes and stops up your tip. So I had to work with that just to get that glue out of there. I eventually had to take the top off, and it had a huge piece of dried Mod Podge in there. So I just put a thin layer over the top of my design, and that just helps seal everything in, and I will be using this as a riser, so I just wanted to protect that transfer that I had put on there. And that sticker did not want to adhere very well, so I did just pull that up and put some Mod Podge underneath it and went back over that with some extra Mod Podge, and this one is finished. I love how this one turned out. It is just so pretty and delicate, and this will make a beautiful touch to any spring decor. What do you guys think about this one? I've had these little mini metal buckets in my stash for quite some time. I found these at Dollar Tree, and they are in all of the wedding supplies. And to start this project, I just removed the handles from those. And I have these gorgeous vintage floral napkins, and these came from Amazon as well. Be sure that you guys check my description box. I will have links for all of the supplies that I can put in there for you. And I just cut these down. I used all three of these different designs. One napkin has 4 different prints on that, so I really love that. You get a lot of bang for your buck from this product. And then I just measured out what size I would need to go around each of my little metal buckets and just cut out those smaller strips. And be sure when you are working with napkins like this that you do remove all of the plies that they have on them. And to attach those to my buckets, I just put down a thin layer of Mod Podge and just used my paintbrush to spread that out over the surface. I did about half of the bucket first, and then I did the other half. And when I'm working with napkins, I try to be as careful as possible so I don't rip these or tear them. And it can be a little challenging when you are working on a surface that's wider at the top than it is at the bottom. So I just slowly put that napkin down all the way around my bucket. And after I had gotten most of the way around, I did figure out that it was easier to get that applied straight and evenly if I cut a few little slits along the bottom of that napkin. It just made that easier to apply to my bucket. And with those little slits, you can just fold them down and you will never even know that they are there. And just to make sure I had my napkin really pressed down firmly, I just wadded up a piece of plastic wrap, and that just helped me be able to get all of that napkin put down where I wanted it. And it also helped some of that detail, the ribbing on those buckets, to stand out a little bit more. And to fill these up, I used some of my scrap paper that comes in my packages that I order. I just wadded up some smaller pieces and put all of those in each of my little buckets. And I did use some hot glue to secure that. I thought if these ever got turned over or anything like that, this would just help all of my little decorations from spilling out of the buckets. And I cut down some smaller pieces of my Spanish moss and just glued that into the tops of each of my little buckets. I love little mini projects like this. These would look super cute on a tier tray or somewhere in your home that you don't have a whole lot of space to put decor, but you want to add a little bit of spring color. These would be perfect for that. And I just gave that Spanish moss a little haircut, just trimmed up some of those crazy pieces that were sticking out here and there. And I went outside and just cut some smaller branches off of a couple of different trees that we have in our yard. If you don't have access to branches or trees like that, you could totally skip this part and use bamboo skewers or whatever that you might have on hand. I just thought this was a very cute and whimsical touch to this project. And I cut those down into even smaller pieces so the sizing would be correct for my bucket. And I got a pack of all kinds of spring designs from Hobby Lobby last year, and I had no idea what I was going to use those for, and I thought they would be absolutely perfect for this. They have different birds, they have butterflies, flowers, all kinds of things in that pack, and I got a lot of them. I think it was around 300 or 400 pieces, I believe. So I picked out 3 different birds that I really liked for my project, and I glued each of them to a smaller piece of my twig, and I just glued that down into my bucket, and I just tucked in some other different sizes and lengths and shapes of all of those twigs in each of my buckets. And I took my fingers and tried to make kind of an indentation in the center of that Spanish moss. I want this to look like a bird's nest. And I have some of these pearls that you can get from the Dollar Tree that comes in a multi-pack with different sizes. And I used the largest ones that I had and just glued that into the center of my bucket. And I had some of this moss left over. I actually used this quite a bit in my decor for springtime. And just pulled off some smaller pieces and glued that here and there into these little buckets. And while I'm watching this back, I realized I didn't put my handles back on my buckets. You guys can put yours back if you want to. I may do that again, but I kind of like the way they look without the handles. Totally up to you. But I'm super happy with how these turned out. I think these are so cute, and I love these napkins and the floral designs on there. These are going to look perfect in my home this year with my other decor. These would even make great gifts for Mother's Day if you have a nature lover on your list. What do you guys think about this one? Gracelyn has been doing a lot of watercolor painting lately, and I wanted to just take a minute and showcase some of her artwork. I really think God has given her a talent to do this kind of thing, and she enjoys it so much. And she is improving daily. Every time she does this, I think her work just gets better and better. So I wanted to show you guys this because, you know, I'm a proud mom and I like to brag on my kids, and I think she just has an awesome talent for this. I hope you guys enjoy her artwork. That's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoy these spring projects. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Give this video a thumbs up and be sure to click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. And I hope you all have a blessed day, and I will see you in the next one.